Good morning. Welcome to everyone who's joining us for Building Brilliant Futures, Math, Science, and Computer Science from birth through to graduation. We are delighted to welcome you today. The CalMSCS and CalPlay Explore teams have put together a session to share some of the resources and programming that we have available to support STEM education. And with that, Megan, would you go ahead and move us forward? We're going to issue an invitation to everyone who's here with us. Would you we want to let you know that on this day in 1936, the Oakland Bay Bridge opened. So any of our friends who are in the Bay Area, this is a really important connector in Northern California, and we want to invite you to share some important connections as well. So can you share a moment when STEM helped bridge people across differences, whether age, culture, language, or role? And would you just drop a word or a phrase into the chat that captures that connection? And you can see some examples that we've shared, some possible examples. When has STEM acted as a bridge? The Science Olympiad. Thanks, Katie. That's a great share. We appreciate that. Vaccines, yes. The MESA program. Oh, Nancy, I'd love it if you'd share a little bit more about that in the chat for folks who may not know what the MESA program is. Girls Who Code Club. Love that, Megan. Robotics competitions. Students engaged in robotics across many grade levels. Love that. Family engagement nights featuring STEAM activities. East LA. Okay, let's give us a little bit more, Nancy. What about East LA? All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing some of those important connections, those important bridges that STEM has made for you. I'm going to ask Megan, to go ahead, and we're going to share our agenda for this session. We have 5 sections that we're going to go through in the next about 45 minutes. The welcome we're engaging in right now. Then our friends from CalPlay Explore are going to give you an overview of their program. Then the CalMSCS team is going to speak to its program. We're going to talk about the ways that we're developing synergies across these 2 initiatives. And then we have a call to action for you all at the end of the session. And today, what we're hoping for is that we're going to be able to build some awareness of CalPlay Explore and CalMSCS. We want to strengthen access to the resources that we're developing through our 2 initiatives. And we want to help you understand the synergies that exist between both initiatives so that there really is a coherent system from birth all the way through graduation. And with that, I'll introduce myself and say that I am Lauren Aranguren, and I serve as Director for Equitable Learning Systems for the Santa Barbara County Education Office. And I'm also the Math Steering Team Co-Chair for CalMSCS, which is the California Mathematics, Science, and Computer Science Partnership. And with that, I will kick it over to Rod Garcia.
Thanks, Lauren. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rod Garcia, and I serve as the Computer Science and Digital Learning Program Coordinator at our Monterey County Office of Education, and dually as the Computer Science Co-Lead for CalMSCS. And I'll pass this over to Megan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Smith. I am a STEM coordinator for San Joaquin County Office of Education. I help support as part of the lead fiscal agent for CalMSES and co-lead for the science branch as well. And I'm going to pass it off to Sherry.
Hi, everybody. Shari Staub. I am the multidisciplinary coordinator for CalMSCS, working across the three content areas and on our family and community engagement initiatives. And I co-chair the science steering work alongside Megan and some fabulous colleagues. And I want to kick it over to John to talk about Count Play Explore.
Good morning. My name is John Dewick, and I'm with Count Play Explore. We run out of the office of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools with our grant focused on birth through age 8 or 3rd grade. And now, Naomi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Naomi Relay, and I'm the program coordinator for Count Play Explore, also with Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. All right, so I'll kick it off to talk a little bit about Count Play Explore. So we're the Early Math, Science, and Computer Science Initiative. So we focus on birth to 3rd grade. So we're going to share a little bit about a little history about us, and then also share about some resources that we have developed, what we've been up to, what you can access, and share how everything that we do is available for everyone in California. So Count Play Explore over the years, we began in 2018. It began because there was definitely a need in California. We saw that more than 50% of California students were not achieving math state standards. So there was a lot of conversations going on prior to 2018. And then there was some funding that was offered up, and Fresno County Superintendent of Schools were provided that funding to start the California Early Math Initiative. And we were asked to create professional development in early math, communications, and resources for those who are providing training and coaching, as well as educators and families to really support early math outcomes across California. Since then, we've been provided some additional funding to expand our efforts and to continue into creating resources and supports in science and computer science. And then we rebranded our name to Count Play Explore to really reflect all the work that we are doing. Next slide. On this page shows CPE's core principles. I really want to highlight everything in that column 1. This column 1 is where we really ground our work. You'll see this showcased in our conversation today, as well as everywhere on our website. But we really ground our work in these 4 principles. Math and science and computer science are everywhere, are for everyone, are fun and playful, and that math, science, and computer science mindsets matter. We really want to embed this in everything that we do and make sure that it's at the forefront of all of our resources and conversations. Our other key principles that we're leading with equity, that we're operating in all places that children and families live, play, and learn. We're building towards sustainability, and then leveraging and aligning with other state and regional and local efforts are also key principles in our work. Next slide.
As we move forward talking about Count Play Explore and what we offer, we want to showcase and show for you these promoted initiative outcomes. We think about how we can support these outcomes in terms of what it will look like from birth through 3rd grade, age 8 right there. Whether this is informal assessment, informal, formative assessment, that we're looking at what comes after we work with people as we support districts, schools, nonprofits, childcare providers with what this can look like. As we raise awareness, as we build positive identities, these are about growth mindset and what that can look like. And these were even mentioned in what Naomi was saying with our core principles. So how can we build people up to see that the math is around us? We want to increase the knowledge that as you go through your life, you're experiencing math, you're experiencing science, you're experiencing computer science, whether it be simple patterns, sorting. The daily world that we live in includes all 3 of these items, and we want to push that, promote that for people to see what's happening on a daily basis in our lives. On the next slide, we showcase just what we do. There are 3 main areas that we touch into with Count Play Explore. The first one is about professional learning, as we have a summer institute for the agencies that we work with. We have communities of practice throughout the year that are available for these agencies to come in, and then the cascade model of going from our attendees down to the people that they work with, and then to the students. That way we can have a broader reach by working at a high level with people, and then branching that out to more and more agencies within those that we directly support. We have many resources that we supply. We'll be talking about those and how people can take advantage of the free resources. Everything that we offer is at no cost so that people don't have a hindrance of any kind moving forward with this. And finally, we really push into family engagement. How can we support the families with what math and science and computer science look like all around them, the caregivers, and all the people that come in contact with these students. So with our professional development efforts, these, like I said, are in broad scale, working with specific agencies that have applied to join into Count, Play, Explore. This goes again into our communities of practice and coaching these agencies through that time, whether it's one-on-one coaching or a group of people that we're coaching. And then how can our professional learning expand to include some virtual experiences? We have 3 different experiences throughout the year. We have our fall forum, which just took place last month, our spring seminar, and our summer symposium. These are free conferences that people can attend virtually, similar to this CCEE one. They come with a certificate, and people can get hours for attending these. But these are open to everyone, and we get over 1,000 people at many of them to take part in what's happening with all of this.
The next thing I'd like to share about is our professional learning resources in early math and science. This is a new website that we launched this summer, actually. And so the link is now in the chat. If we can go to the next slide, please. These resources are split into 2 types of resources. We have our self-study modules, which really supports building the capacity of the user. And so these resources are great for coaches, professional learning providers, teacher leaders, and even educators can use these. We currently have 5 of them up on the site, and they're anywhere from math mindsets to building a system to provide professional learning in your communities. So these resources are really great to build your own knowledge and skills on how to provide STEAM professional learning. The other set of resources, we call them facilitator resources. These resources are going to include PowerPoints, child activities, adult learning activities, video examples in the classroom, and some other teacher strategies that can actually be used in professional learning. And this entire site is also translated into Spanish and is totally free to use and download anything for any professional learning you would like to provide in around STEAM. Next. So John already touched a little bit on this, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about our cohort model. And so we call it a cascade map model, where we're working really closely with a set group of facilitators from each agency. We're providing professional learning and coaching to about 4 facilitators from each agency. And then those agency facilitators are going back into their communities and providing coaching and professional learning to the educators in their systems. And then those educators are then bringing back early math, science, and computer science into their classrooms. Then on the next slide, we can see what some of those numbers look like from prior years. And so we are now in our 3rd cohort. And so these are numbers from our past 2 cohorts, actually. The first one is from 2019, and the second one, the one that starts with 25 agencies across the state, is from 2023. So you can see that we've been able to really reach a variety of different types of agencies. We really want to make sure that we're working with county offices, school districts, and nonprofits. Since we do work with, or we reach down to birth through 3rd grade, we really want to meet that mixed delivery system in California. We're really reaching a lot of different types of facilitators and training and making sure that we're meeting their different needs, and then reaching a wide span of educators as well. Next slide. And then I also wanted to paste in some of our data from our last cohort. The last cohort ran their PL for a little less than a year. And I thought it was really great to see what they were able to do. And so with the funding that we were able to provide them, the cohort agencies were able to provide 227 hours of professional learning and over 445 hours of coaching across 407 sessions. And then these graphs on the bottom show two different stories, which are show very similar stories, but I really like to point these out. The one on the left showed changes in educators' negative feelings toward math. So the question that they were responding to was, I'm not a math person. So the one, the blue column, the blue bar graph, is showing that a lot of people were showing neutral or agree that they did not see themselves as a math person, but after going through CPE training, they disagreed with that statement. So they started to see themselves more as a math person. And then Exhibit 7, changes in educators' perceptions of math usefulness. They were asked, I like coming up with creative ways to solve math problems. And then they also responded to math is a subject I use often throughout my life. So also we saw here an increase that they started to really see that math was useful and being able to connect to where math was useful in their daily lives. So we also wanted to highlight some of our free resources that you can access on our website. We have the family-centered videos, which we hope to have time to show in just a second. And then we also have book guides and related activities, which are really great resources to be used in the classroom and then also in family engagement events. These resources build off stories, children's stories. We know that a lot of educators and families are more comfortable with reading, so we wanted to build a great resource that can integrate math and science and computer science into those learning experiences. We also have Count, Play, Explore issues, which are what on the most right side in the center, those Count, Play, Explore, Discovering the Math ones. And then we also have early math research briefs, which really show an in-depth look on how children develop those different math skills. In addition to that, we have some great family engagement materials, which I won't get too much in detail with, but if you check out our site, you can definitely find those. But we really want to uplift different ways that you can engage families in everyday experiences. And one way is through the videos, and I'll pass it over to John.
So here's a quick sample to show you of what our videos are like. And keep in mind, these are geared towards family consumption and caregivers to learn about what math and science and computer science can look like in your home. So I'll let you hit play, Megan.
Math madness has taken over California as families around the state are finding that math is truly everywhere.
That's right, Phil. Parents from Eureka to Escondido are joining the movement. But the journey to math mastery isn't always easy.
It sure is not, Ange. So today we're profiling one young dad who's come a long way. Meet Chet Kingston.
Math? How am I supposed to teach him math when I wasn't good at it when I was a kid? Huh? Tell me.
That was Chet then, but today we have him live for an update.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Angie.
Chet, we understand you had a breakthrough and began to open your eyes to the world of math around you. What happened?
Well, Angie, I literally opened my eyes to the world of math around me. I mean, it's at home, in the car, on the playground, at the beach.
Wow, what an
You can count breakfast cereal at breakfast. You can fill buckets of sand at the sandbox. You can point out shapes on the street. It's everywhere.
I mean, there's no
It's
end
at the
to
grocery
math
store.
opportunity.
It's in the garden. It's at Grandma's. At Uncle Ned's. I mean, come on.
I think you stopped.
Okay. Chet became a true inspiration, and now he's coaching other parents.
I am.
So, Chet, what's the most satisfying part of your job?
It's watching parents turn their little ones into little mathletes.
What's a mathlete?
It means you've conquered your fear of fractions, your addition anxiety, your subtraction stress. I am a mathlete.
Chet's message to parents: don't pass on your fear of math to your child.
Are you guys mathletes? Huh?
I'm a mathlete. Come on, you. I'm a mathlete.
To just share with you a little bit more about Count Play Explore and what we have to offer, more videos like that, ways to engage families so that they can see that there is math around them to reduce that fear of fractions and addition anxiety. Our activities blend into the classroom to be a station or a center, or to be a station or center at a family engagement event that can be focused on STEAM, just math, science, computer science, whatever that looks like. So we hope you can take advantage of these resources and see how they move into what Cal MSCS has to offer also.
Thank you, John and Naomi. That was awesome. I really enjoy that video. I like how it's scripted out there. But let's talk some Cal MSCS. So the California Mathematics, Science, and Computer Science Partnership, what we're calling Cal MSCS, it really is about building a statewide ecosystem of support for our educators. Our vision is simple, but it's powerful, right? So to make sure every California educator, no matter their region or role, has access to professional learning, resources, and coaching that they need to bring high quality math, science, and computer science to all students. And we're not just talking about content there, we're talking about really empowering so that every student can see themselves as capable problem solvers. And how we plan on executing that vision and bringing that to life is we're focusing on 4 goals, right? So the first one being system capacity, where we're expanding the statewide infrastructure that allows more professional learning and coaching to happen where the educators are. It's about sustainability and scalability with that system capacity. Secondly, high quality professional learning. So within Cal MSCS, we're curating and sharing models of practice. So to ensure educators experience what great math, science, and computer science teaching looks like. We're not just hearing about it, we're learning from folks and systems that are out there. Third, family and community engagement, which CPE had highlighted very well as well within their own work there. We're really providing equitable access to STEM and STEM that doesn't happen in isolation. We work with families and communities to make sure students are supported inside and outside of the classroom. And then finally, collaboration and cohesion is really about connecting the dots across regions, across grantees. You see us here with Count Play Explore and other statewide initiatives so that our collective efforts to bring quality and professional learning is all moving in the same direction. And so together, we hope these goals really do form the backbone for the statewide movement to reimagine what California, how California is preparing our educators in math, science, and computer science. And I will pass it over to Megan.
Thanks, Rod. So we wanted to give you a little bit of background to share out where we have been and where we're going. So the first year of the grant was really just the first month where we were awarded the grant, and we began preparing with our leadership teams. Then the work truly launched in July of 2023. And we began a statewide asset mapping process. We really wanted to take a look at what was happening statewide in California and understand the needs and the priorities of all 58 counties and their local implementation work. So at the statewide level, our math, science, and computer science leads, San Joaquin, Santa Barbara, and Monterey, we came together and developed our steering teams, and we began to envision what the statewide support would look like for this work. And at the same time, we began connecting with all 58 county offices of education for them to also begin an asset mapping process and develop local goals or action plans. Then we began our work last year and really launching all of that professional learning and support statewide through multiple layers of leadership. We have really leaned into our partnerships. That's why we call the long name is the California Math, Science, and Computer Science Partnership. It's just been an incredible journey to see everyone coming together cohesively and working towards this goal of providing high quality professional learning and support for all educators in California. So we launched our statewide communities of practice in all 3 content areas. We began the local teams, all 58 county offices began to amplify and or ignite new or expanded continual support and professional learning in math, science, and computer science. And again, our teams continue to focus around that idea of building capacity, strengthening those relationships within and externally with partners, and make connections at those statewide communities of practice. So it's been really exciting to hear so many stories coming out from the 58 counties. We are now in our 4th year of the grant, our current year. We are continuing those statewide communities of practice. And there again is this continued work and expansion at the local level with all 58 counties coming together and sharing resources, building those relationships, and thinking about the cohesiveness so that this is not just something added onto their plate, but really thinking about how can we continue to leverage those assets from the asset mapping process and expand our work and support for educators, and ultimately enhance those experiences for all students in STEM. Our last year 5, our final year, we will continue all of those efforts at the statewide and local level. And we're really thinking about that sustainability approach and thinking about 2027 and beyond in supporting STEM. And so thank you, Naomi, for dropping our website in the chat. And I'm going to hand it off to Sherry.
So just a little bit on how we're thinking about our impact and reach statewide and at the local level. We've taken our 4 big grant goals that Rod beautifully walked through earlier and thought about specific indicators that we really want to look at in order to be able to demonstrate that county offices and the local systems and partners that they work with are really strengthening teacher and student outcomes and learning in the math, science, and computer science. So if you take a look at this slide, you'll see we're looking at how interdependent networks are showing up at the local level, how professional learning is expanding around not just content and teacher-focused support, but the ways in which we're bringing families and community members and partners into that work. Are we cohering and coordinating with our partners like Count, Play, Explore, who are thinking birth to 3, while we think 4th grade through 12th grade, but also statewide with CCEE, all the initiatives that Linda Darling-Hammond and others mentioned at the start of the day. And next slide, we have just a little bit of evidence around the ways our reach is starting to show up in the field, hours of professional learning at the statewide level, hours of professional learning at the local level. But we also have vignettes and stories Megan alluded to across our partners around how this work is really shifting mindsets, both around practice in the classroom and leadership at the system level, and in the ways that communities and families support and partner with educators across the state. So we're really excited to be able to share all this with you. And I'll kick it over to Lauren.
Thanks, Sherry. I'm thinking back to what Cynthia Glover Woods said to us in the introduction today about how important it is within a human body that our whole human body, being one system, is healthy, but it also relies on all the individual systems being healthy in order to work together. And so we've spent some time talking about the coherence and connections that happen with Count, Play, Explore and with CalMSCS, but we also want to share what's happening within each of the individual content areas in CalMSCS as well. And as Megan and others shared earlier, San Joaquin is leading science, Santa Barbara is leading mathematics, and Monterey is leading computer science. And I'm gonna kick it off talking about what we're doing to build the health of our mathematics system throughout the state and also in our local communities. We just about 3 weeks ago, had our third math community of practice convening, our statewide community of practice convening in Monterey, where we focused on each of those 4 goals that have already been that have already come up. We are providing opportunities for each of the local teams to share what's really working well and what their experiences are of developing these new local communities of practice. We also have work around affinity group collaboration, bringing together folks who are in similar roles or similar contexts, so that we can build on each other's knowledge and each other's actions that are happening. And then we are getting ready to build upon some of the school-based professional learning that's happening in the Rural Math Collaborative and in other kinds of lesson study. And so we will be providing those opportunities in mathematics for folks to really understand what robust site-based professional learning looks like that aligns with the 2023 California Mathematics Framework. We are building family and community engagement resources and building upon each other's experiences in family and community engagement in order to build that bridge with families and communities in each of the 58 counties. And then coming up in April, we will have our 4th Math Community of Practice convening, where we bring statewide folks together and they bring their local teams to learn together, to build robust relationships that are the sinew, the threads that hold together our professional learning infrastructure, and then also continue to build upon our actions in our local communities. And with that, I'm going to kick it to Megan.
All right, so as you can see for our science scope for the 25-26 year, we are well underway with our many activities. We launched in September up in the far north there in Red Bluff, our NGSS Assessment Toolkit Trainer of Trainer, which was in collaboration with the California NGSS Collaborative, which was a great hybrid opportunity to explore assessments and starting to build those connections with the Atlas project that Dr. Linda Darling-Hammond mentioned in her speech. Then we are also launched at the end of September a science leadership series that is meeting virtually every month. And this is a really neat opportunity to connect with those multiple layers of leadership. We have a county office strand, we have a district and site administrator strand, and then also a teacher leader strand. And so this has been a great opportunity to think about our theme is around integration anchored in science and how we can continue to build those connections across content areas and simultaneously supporting and empowering leadership within our full network. We also, October was a very busy month. We had our California Association of Science Educator Conference, where we hosted a strand the entire weekend. So we had professional learning workshops every day. And it was a great opportunity, again, to connect with those local teams that were attending, as well as connecting with new people in that space. We have coming up our elementary science support trainer of trainer happening down in San Diego. Again, collaboration with the California NGSS Collaborative and bringing those partners together to think about how we might support student sense making in the classroom in that 3, 4, and 5 grade band, and building those connections too with Count Play Explore and those younger grades. And then in May, we will have our large statewide community of practice convening in Sonoma. And we have a few other activities mentioned there. We partnered with Exploratorium for their Climate Action Leadership Academy. So we're sponsoring and supporting and coaching those. There are, I think, 5 or 10, I'm blanking now, but we have rural and remote teacher leaders that are part of that academy, and we're meeting with them to think strategically about connecting to their county work. And then we will also be at the symposium for sessions and the National Science Teachers Association conference in Anaheim in April.
Okay, yeah, and so I'll talk about our computer science model that we offer yearly, and we had just finished our October community of practice. And so for the community of practice model for computer science is this steering team identifies computer science models at local LEAs across California. And so we move across regions to provide professional learning where we're able to immerse ourselves within the school site, and then provide professional learning in for the rest of the day. So in October, we went to Mountain View, where we were able to look at what computer science looks like in Los Altos and Mountain View. And in 4 weeks, so on December 11th, our next community of practice is happening in partnership with Compton Unified School District. So we'll be able to see what computer science looks like in a K-12 model for one district there. And then we'll continue to move on to the next region, which will be in Anaheim. And so those 3 community of practices where we go to the learning and immerse ourselves in the learning really do culminate into a culminating event, which we call the Computer Science Models of Practice Summit, where we've been fielding applications from across California for district teams and site teams and/or county office teams to present their model to other California teams, so we could collectively learn from how to really accomplish equitable computer science in a K-12 system. I encourage you to sign up for any and all of these community practices. They are offered hybrid. So if you're not able to attend the in-person immersive learning, it is offered in a hybrid structure. And then for the Models of Practice Summit in San Diego, again, that's where all of the LEAs that have applied for it get to present their models of practice, and that's more of a conference style event, and we encourage you all to come. And I'll pass it over to you, Shari.
Yeah, so just to kind of close the CalMSCS loop with the ways in which we're working with family and community partners across the state, each of our content areas that Rod, Lauren, and Megan just walked through have content-specific initiatives and opportunities for statewide partners to engage in thinking about what does family and community engagement look like in mathematics, in science, and in computer science. And then globally, across the content areas, we partner with family and community-based organizations all over the state who are thinking about STEM and work together to co-design professional learning opportunities that are, for example, every other month on Tuesdays from 4 to 5, we have a mini series that's open to anybody that wants to join to think about how to strengthen family and community engagement in their local system. And we're designing resources and other opportunities together so that we strengthen system leaders' ability to strengthen local efforts to engage with family and community and partners in service to place-based learning that really strengthens STEM outcomes and involvement and engagement in the STEM fields over the long term. So check out our website, next slide, for resources about that and all of that we're doing in those 3 content areas and across. And I believe I'm now going to kick it over to Lauren and Naomi to talk about the Birth to 12 continuum and the synergies that we're working towards as Count, Play, Explore, and CalMSCS.
Thank you all. So now we want to share a little bit about how our initiatives are thinking about the entire continuum from birth to graduation. We recognize collaborating across initiatives will only support our connected experiences for children, educators, and families. Next slide.
Right. And so we have some really intentional system synergies, some that have evolved and some that were a part of how we began the work. And one of those synergies is that we both use human-centered design. Again, as Cynthia Glover Wood said, this is about humanity. It's about raising our little humans into exceptional, empowered humans in STEM. And we really work on human-centered design.
Our next one is shared governance to ensure coherence. We're really intentional on making sure that we're sitting on each other's advisory boards and being part of conversations to make sure that we're aligned in what decisions are being made and our own initiatives, to make sure that when important decisions are being made, that we're in alignment.
And this one, I think you heard from all of our voices. It probably doesn't even need to be a bullet, but family and community engagement is a focus for all of us.
And then also learning in community and relationships. I think we highlighted this throughout our presentation, but we each hold different types of community of practices, and we really uplift creating relationships not only across the state, but within your own communities. I know for Count Play Explore, we really want to build our cohorts, communities, and relationships up. And then I've seen that done also in the community of practices within CalMSCS. And so it's really great to see that being a shared synergy. And then just also finding ways of like how else to build communities across the state has been really important.
And then finally, all of our efforts are designed with sustainability in mind, and that means shared leadership. It means mutual relationships between the folks who are leading the initiatives and the folks who are leading the local initiatives. So that gives us the opportunity to really develop a system that is going to be responsive to teachers and students across birth through graduation.
Okay, and so with all that information that was shared with you today, we want you to take the opportunity to unpack the resources that were shared, or unpack those websites and what's available to you. And on this Padlet, there is a way to help you, to guide you on that unpacking, for some questions for you to think about. How would you use these resources, or this resource, or these resources? And then what would you want to see more of as we continue to iterate what our website and our resources look like? How best can we help you? And we encourage you to take the time to unpack those resources and then come join us at our roundtable later on in the day to really expand or extrapolate on those specific conversations. I do want to get to the Q&A, and I'll pass it over to John.
Thank you for being a part of all this. With the time that we have left, we wanted to give a chance for you to put questions in the chat, things that you might be wondering that have come up during this time. Also knowing that we do have our roundtable this afternoon from 12:30 to 1:30 that will be available at. But if you could just type in the chat thoughts that come to your mind and things that you're wondering about, we'll give some time for that. While some of you are thinking about it, there were reminded at the bottom of this slide, you have the link to the CalMSCS main website, and then Count Play Explore is currently on more than one site as we're updating our main site. You can see that available there. Thank you, Megan, for putting the link to the Padlet in there a second time so people can see that. I can also mention during this time that because we're all a part of a statewide initiative moving forward with this, that if you have questions, comments, you can always reach out after this at any point to learn more about what we're doing, to find out what's happening and what's going on close to you. We all have events throughout the state that are taking place and ways you can get involved on a regular basis.